We are going to be jumping into today's topic on radiance and reality coaching. We're life coaches who go live. And our topic today is if you need someone to validate your choice, is it really your choice? A nice little hot take for you
That's the
guys,
key.
a little nail bitey.
That's the
I'm going to say
key.
that one more time just to let that sink in for you guys. So if you need someone to validate your choice, is it really your choice? So before we jump into more on this topic, let's take a quick moment for us hosts to introduce ourselves. Hi, my name is Kayla Winters. I am the proud owner of the Lunar Radiance Coaching, where I'm a life coach, yoga instructor, and sound healer. And I support women on their journey of self-empowerment and fighting burnout and perfectionism through self-discovery and self-love. And I am so grateful to have my amazing co-host here today. Joohong, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Joohong Lange. I am the owner of Reality Switch Coaching, and I work with couples to build stronger communication through emotional intelligence with just all the wonderful tools that I have that are based in neurolinguistic programming, and then also a little bit of emotional focused therapy as well. So yeah,
Oh,
that's it.
thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for everyone who's tuning in. For those who are responding in the chat, we just love to hear from you guys. If you're listening to the replay or curious where you can listen to the replay, you guys can listen to that on YouTube and Twitch. And now we actually have a Spotify account, which is super awesome. We have transformed this into a podcast for you guys. So please go follow us. It's Radiance and Reality Coaching on Spotify. Listen to the podcast. I think you can comment now on Spotify, which is pretty cool. So again, we
Yes.
want to hear from you guys. Let us know what you guys think about what we're talking about. And that's a call too throughout any point within our lives. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your questions. We want to hear your feedback, where these things are landing, because it really just makes these lives so much more fun. So come be a part of the live action.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So, Joohong, when you heard this topic of if you need someone to validate your choice, is it really your choice? Is that something that you feel like you've struggled with as a person? Like, are you someone who has sought out validation or feels like you need validation to make a choice?
I I yeah, it's funny. I actually feel like I've been on both ends of it, and both ends in a very terrible, toxic way, I would say. On one hand, I feel like there have definitely been times where, especially like in a relationship, where I didn't necessarily think that I needed validation or permission or anything, and made terrible decisions because of that. I'm just kind of like going with it. And then on the other side of it, it's funny actually, I would say outside of my relationship, where I have overly sought validation for my choices. Like, I may feel like, okay, I think this is the right decision. It feels right. It sounds right. I've done all the research, whatever. And then I'm like, hey, can you look at this real quick? And just like, can you tell me, like, is this really good? And then when the person tells me, no, yeah, it's good. And I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure? I don't know. I just don't, um, so I've definitely been on both sides of this topic.
Yeah, I love that you said both sides, because for me, when I think of both sides, I think of the side where you don't need validation from others, in the sense that I don't know, I guess I didn't see that as a negative thing, but as you said that, I was like,
And now,
oh,
now
that's
I've let it in.
that definitely could totally go a whole nother direction, right?
You're welcome.
Of
You're welcome.
when it's appropriate, or when the ego is making those choices, right? And we feel like we don't need other, yeah, that's super valid. So I think that was great. Thanks for sharing that. That was,
Yeah, of course.
yeah.
How have you? What is your feelings with this or your experience with it?
Well, if you guys have listened to this before, you know that I am a people pleaser and burnout queen. And so I love to go to other people for validation and for getting their insight, and to basically do anything to avoid making a decision from my own choices, which is not great. Definitely not helpful, and led to so many issues for myself in regards to my confidence, in regards to my relationships, and just my ability to like move forward literally in any direction, because if you can't make a choice and you just freeze, you're stuck. So that's not very helpful. So I'm really excited to talk about this topic because I think that it is something that I have previously released my power on and did it so passively. It was unaware of how I was just letting go and just existing because that felt more comfortable. That discomfort felt more comfortable than leaning into the discomfort of making a final decision. So, which
Well, yeah, I mean,
you can
because when
relate.
you, yeah, I mean, when you're the one who makes the decision, then that means if it fails, it's all on you,
Exactly.
right? Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
And right.
Yes, that's definitely how it feels.
It definitely feels that way, but also, like, I think something that one thing I loved about, like, the perfection trap is, like, it just, like, highlighted so beautifully how, like, it's okay to make a decision. It's okay to, like, not have the perfect answer and to not have it all figured out and to still make a decision, which I really loved from that, and I think is gonna be a really beautiful thread throughout this conversation today, like just being able to find the good enough and being able to move forward with you and your decision being good enough. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I
cool.
love it. I love it. All
You want
right,
to pick our first talking point?
here we go. Let's
Kidding.
see.
You're
Also, for
laughing.
everyone in the chat or anyone listening, I want to invite you all to reflect on what your feelings about this idea of needing someone to validate your choice or not needing. Maybe going that on that other side of it where you're just like, I make all the decisions, I just do what I want. Who cares what anybody else thinks? Like to complete abandon. I invite you all to also kind of reflect on that. And if you would like to share and you're here live with us, feel free to tops in the chat. Kind of just your thoughts. Or if you agree with everything we're saying, you can just drop like a 1 in the chat or however you want to do that.
You guys are amazing. Like, this is the best live stream ever.
Yes, all of them are the best
All of the
live
things.
streams ever. But we would never tell any other live stream that ever.
Right.
All right, let's see here. So we'll start with, you know what? Let's start from the beginning. And Kayla's gonna walk us through how childhood conditioning causes us to ask for permission. Take it
Yeah.
away, Kayla. Share us your thoughts.
This one runs deep and has me angry, to be honest. Yeah, I really, when I think back and thinking about things that like come up really instantly in my memory, I think of the classroom, really. And I want to share a story that is like a little vulnerable for me, but I feel like it relates in regards to like making your own decisions. So one time I used to like historically never go to the bathroom at school. It was just like something that I like trained my body, it made me uncomfortable, whatever. And then one day it was one of those days where I was like, I don't have a choice, I need to go. And I had a substitute teacher that day and I was like, "Can I please go to the bathroom?" I was like, "I need to go." She was like, "There's 3 people ahead of you. You're gonna have to wait." And it was like, "Miss, you don't understand. I need to go to the bathroom." But I'm also like in 2nd grade or whatever, right? So it's like those power dynamics that like where you don't really have like choice. And as someone who was a perfectionist and wanted to obey and be obedient, I was like, "Okay, I just gotta I just gotta figure it out, right?" Like, my 2nd grade self. And I went up again and she's like, "No, you have to wait. Like, you don't have a choice. Like, no, no, no." So you go back down, you're like panicking, you're freaking out. I get to the bathroom and I make it, but I still basically end up like peeing my pants halfway, right? And I remember like my pants were wet and I was so embarrassed. And like, thank goodness I had like one of my really good friends at the time. Her name's Madison. Hey, I see we got some comments in the chat.
just
I'm
just
just
in time
filling
for
up my
your
heart
yeah,
to
just in time for
chat.
your story.
Thanks for coming in.
Great timing.
And
Continue
she
with your
like
story.
right, right. And she lent me her jacket to like wrap around my waist because like, I was at school, like I didn't have a change of clothes. Like at that time you don't really have accidents. And that snowballed into this thing, this like reputation that I created and this like anxiety and fear around going to the bathroom for myself. Where anytime I went anywhere, I always made sure that I went to the bathroom before. And then it became this whole reputation that everyone was like, oh, anyone got to go to the bathroom? We know Kayla's got to go to the bathroom because she's always
Oof.
got to go to the bathroom.
No way.
That's
Do they
Kayla.
really?
No, literally. Like, you
Like,
can
wait,
talk
the
to anyone from
teachers
my
too?
childhood. This is 100% a reputation that I carried with myself through, I would say, up into maybe junior year of high school, where I finally was like able to get over that fear a little bit and like those tendencies. Like, I really worked on it because it was something that people were like shaming me all the time for having to go to the bathroom, not knowing
Wow.
what the true reason why. Because God forbid you ask why someone's doing something repetitively and like compulsively almost, it's not like they have like a deep rooted reason or something.
God, but like the teachers were doing that to you too?
Not teachers
Oh, okay.
necessarily, but just like
Yeah.
everyone in my life, literally
Wow.
all adults, like that weren't teachers, just like my parents, people that
Yeah.
were like my Girl Scout leaders, like close family
Wow.
friends, like anyone that was like around me regular would like give me this hard time about having to
Dang.
go to the bathroom, like to the point where like I remember we like went on a boat or something and there was no bathroom, and I literally wouldn't even go somewhere that didn't have a bathroom because I was like, and I didn't even really know the full scope either because I'm just like a kid living my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not truly understanding. And like, I remember they lied to me and they were like, yeah, there's a bathroom on the boat for sure. And they even got like the crew in on it to lie to me too about it. And
Wow.
then like we were like on the boat and then I was like, so like where's the bathroom again? Just because I was like
Yeah.
anxious about it. And we're already gone. And they're like, the bathroom is the ocean. If you need to go, you can just get in the water. And I was like, it wasn't that kind of vibe where you would get in the water and like, out deep in the ocean. I was like, okay, for
That
sure. Oh, screw Kayla,
yeah. Yeah.
you
Oh my
know.
gosh.
So all of that to share essentially is coming
Wow.
back to having to ask for permission and having something as little as going to the bathroom being something that like was shameful, was embarrassing, all of the things that, and that was just going to the bathroom, let alone asking for something like food or asking for literally anything that I needed to feel safe and secure was just like not an option and something that I knew was embarrassing.
Yeah.
And so that snowballed into so many bigger issues that I
I
still
yeah.
deal with to this day of like feeling this need to ask for permission for again things that are like such basic needs, and it can be something at like that moment, like did that substitute teacher know that she was going to be changing my entire life?
Oh.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
No idea.
True.
But I think that those are things I feel like to invite, like this story is a place to like invite in grace for yourself to just check in. Like maybe you have something like that in your story that might have seemed so small, but really did play like a major role in the way that you are able to make decisions for yourself or feel like it's okay to make decisions for yourself. And, or maybe you have someone in your life who struggles with making decisions. And I think it's just like something to think about and to be mindful of. And really just coming back to being curious. I think that childhood plays such like that's where we learn so much. We look up to the people around us. And whether you have, like a traumatic experience like that, right, that shapes you, or you're looking up to the adults around you and they don't know how to make decisions, right? And your role models are the ones that are struggling with that. And that's who you're learning from. So I think it's just like a huge place that we shouldn't necessarily shy away from as examples as to like, where did I learn the reasons why I can or cannot make a decision, or the way that I go about making a decision heavily comes from the childhood experience. So, and just like again, inviting in space and being mindful. And I love looking back and being able to be like, how can I better show up for myself now and like make myself feel safe, even though I'm like a full grown adult. I still need to be cared for. I might need to have to go to the bathroom, and that's totally fine. So, yeah. John, do you have any thoughts about that for yourself or
It's funny.
experiences that
Actually, I'm
have?
actually taking notes now.
Oh,
Almost
wow.
like how I'd write notes for a client, you know. I'm taking notes on you. But don't worry, it's all confidential. It's just between you and I.
Of course.
Um,
It's not
yeah,
live on
there's
the internet
nobody
or
else.
anything.
No, definitely not being live streamed to the world for anybody who's willing to look for it. Um, but so many things,
Yeah.
and it's crazy. It's funny because you actually didn't take this the way I thought you were gonna take it, which is obviously the way that I would take it, which
Sure.
is why I thought that that's how you would take it because I right. Anyways, that's a
Sure.
whole nother
Yeah.
topic for a whole
Right.
nother time. Crazy the following the rules of we're always told, well, you have to ask, you have to wait, you have to it's almost like
Mhm.
we built this into children already at a young age of like
Mhm.
you must ask permission every time you want to do anything in your life
Mhm.
because they
Mhm.
don't understand that, oh, this is just because I'm at school, or oh, this is just because of the context.
Right.
It's not, hey, I do this now, and then later when I'm an adult, I can make my own decisions and not have to ask for permission. Because I think a
Mhm.
lot of times we do tell like teenager, well, not even teen, no, teenagers, we definitely say you have to ask for permission, like most of the time, I would say. But then when you get to 18 and you're like working your job or whatever, and then people are like, okay, like go ahead and make your own decisions. But then they never like let you off the hook. Like nobody comes over and tells you, by the way, you don't have to ask for permission for everything
Right. Right.
anymore. Like you're released. I release you
Right.
from that. You can take that away. Wake them up from their hypnosis. Anyway, so that was really interesting. And then this other part, which is something that I'm working on myself to avoid doing this, but it's this idea of making fun of people for just the fun of it, that like it's no
Mhm.
big deal, but it's things that are so embarrassing then we don't realize. But then if it was us, like if the shoe was on the other foot, we'd be like, wow guys, can you like stop, like that's actually messed up.
Right. It's not actually funny. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, and it kind of goes back to, I think I told you this, like I'm working on avoiding being as sarcastic as I have
Mhm.
been, because when you're sarcastic, you're usually putting someone else at the butt of that joke or whatever. Like if I ask, let's say I ask my wife, like, hey, do you know where this thing is? I don't know. Why don't you use your eyes? Like, okay, great, thanks. That was so unhelpful. You could have
Right.
just told, instead of saying that, you could have just told me it might be over here in this area, or oh, have you checked this area, or whatever the case, or where have you looked?
Mhm.
Like, there's so many other productive things that could have been said in that moment, and that's not even like as crazy as like, hey, I had this issue this one time. Like, can we not make this a big deal? Because obviously, and I think this is the crazy part, is that obviously it was such a big deal to you that like you wouldn't go anywhere that didn't have a restroom.
Right.
Like that should have been like red flag for everyone around you going,
Mhm.
okay, this is like kind of serious. Like we really need to like dial in on this and like, hey, what's going on? Like you good? Like, "Oh, I'm having," but instead we go, it's just funny because I'm not at the end of the joke. It's Kayla. She's just like, she'll get over it. Don't
Mhm.
worry. And then later when you grow up and you're like, hey, I'm thinking of like going to therapy because there's like some crazy stuff happened in my childhood. People are like, wow, okay, what, like
Right.
you're so broken. And you're like, I didn't have a way to process all the shit that I was going through as a
Right.
kid, like
I'm
what?
just a person, like, I'm trying to
Yeah,
figure out this crazy world.
yeah,
Oh
they caused the
my
trauma, but
goodness.
then they make fun of you for trying to get help because of all of the trauma. Anyways,
Totally.
so
Oh,
that
feedback
those are
is
just like,
hard.
those are
And
some
I
crazy
I do
things.
wanna
Yeah,
say too, like, I think that sometimes people don't know how to oftentimes people don't know how to handle situations, and so they
yeah,
act inappropriately, right?
yeah,
Or they say things to, like, lighten the mood or whatever, which,
yeah.
again, it just depends on the situation, and I know the people that I'm referencing and whatnot, there was no ill will.
No, yeah,
Truly, like, they didn't know, like, they weren't trying to, like, tear me up and ruin my life or whatever, like, that was not the case at all. So far and, like, I
it
know
wasn't
if
their
I talked to them about
intention.
it now, they would be like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry," right?
Yeah,
But, like, that like, yeah, so and then I think about and I shared it, previously too, how I, like, got a UTI at work. Like, again, I was, like,
yeah,
23 at the time, not going to the bathroom because, again, I was, like, trained to, like it's very, like this is where I feel like the suck it up, stick with it, don't be a burden,
yeah,
ignore your, like and it's like, "Oh, I was a burnout queen? Crazy." Or
yeah,
I was given shit so much as a kid about needing to go to the bathroom or just making sure that that was something that happened that I, like, got made fun of, and then I'm, like, ignoring myself, and people are like, "Why can't you just go to the bathroom?" It's like,
Yeah.
Well, it's a little bit bigger than that. But yeah, so just that was a fun one to reflect on, and I feel like definitely shaped me, and being afraid of being punished. Just shame is so heavy, I feel like.
Yeah, it
When
is.
it comes to, at least for myself, and the making decisions, I just feel so heavily that I need to be affirmed to be able to move forward, because that's how you were the kid who got the award in class, or you were the most obedient. Like, we really are so like rewarded in the classroom setting for like, I feel like ignoring our needs and following
Following
suit
the
and
rules.
doing what is right, which I did so well that it led to these perfect
Yeah.
these perfect little traits within me that really like ultimately like blew up later.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
So
and I
those
think
are
that's like
fun.
I think that's the thing. Like I feel like yeah, obviously when we talk about these people and in the past and anything in the past, right? It's like yeah, you can. I mean, nobody intended.
Oh, sure.
Going back to our last week's conversation,
Right.
their intentions were not to scar you for life,
Right.
and hopefully, like moving forward. And I think this is kind of the direction that we're going. Is like, hey, stop doing that. It makes me feel really uncomfortable and actually makes me feel more terrible than I already felt. Or, hey, this is actually a
Mhm.
really big deal for me. Can we stop talking about it? Or can you stop making fun of me about it? My bad. I didn't know. But then I think while it is that person's, it is on the person who feels shamed to let others know, hey, that makes me feel shame.
Yeah.
Can we not? And also, hopefully, the people around you like for us as people who are doing the unintentional shaming, like
Right.
when we look at situations like that, maybe if you do it, then follow up. Like this is what I've kind of done is like if I do something sarcastic and I'm like, I'm just joking, it's just a joke. I just want to let you know, like, I don't seriously mean this or intend this. And then, or asking the person like ahead of time, like, hey, how do you feel about this situation? Because I know we're kind of like ragging on you about it, but like, let us know if it ever gets like too much. Like, please like, let us
Mhm.
know. But then I'm always like, okay, but even then, like, there's so many other things you could make fun of. Why does this have to be the thing?
Yeah.
Like, so it's.
Yeah.
I vote for a less sarcastic world. A world where we can be more productive with our communication and actually be supportive of each other and help each other out. Also, Toga Eater earlier said guilty. I don't know of what, but your sins are absolved in the Church of Reality Switch Coaching. Oh, yeah, no reality. Well, reality, radiance, and reality coaching.
Radiance and reality,
Um,
all the
all the
coachings.
coachings, the Lunar Radiance Wellness Center.
That's
You are
so
now
funny,
absolved of your
actually.
sins. And it's funny because then the other way I was thinking actually of taking it, or I
Yeah,
thought this is
I'm
the way I
curious to
thought
hear.
was more of because I've talked about this a lot of how when we're growing up and in school you get graded.
Mhm. Yeah.
And if you don't get good grades, then you're a terrible student.
Mhm.
You're a failure to society. You'll never amount to anything because you didn't get good grades. And in that way, like the fear of making the wrong choice. And then also, well, okay, so staying on that real quick. So that part of it, but then also now this extra added thing of if you don't get good grades, then as a parent, I love you less.
Mm,
Even though I don't mean that,
yeah.
but if you show up at home and I get your report card and it says there's like, well, for some of us, like, right, a B on there or anything less than a B, like
Mhm,
now, and it's funny because, like now you're a disgrace.
mhm,
I know there's always this joke like of like, oh, Asian parents are always like, oh, you didn't get good grades. Like a B is like second best, like it's not number one, so like you're trash. It really does actually feel that way. And so, I mean, thankfully, I think my parents were a little bit more lenient. Um, and I just learned to coast through school. I was like, ah, whatever, I don't care. But I think there was a time when I talked to someone and they were just like, yeah, like they just appreciated the fact that I showed up and it didn't seem to matter how they showed up, that I was always going to be there no matter what. And then so I feel like in that way, then that person is less likely, well, one, less likely to make the wrong choice because they're not stressed about making wrong choices. But two, also like they know if they make the wrong choice, like everything's going to be okay. The world is not going to fall apart. They're not a a a menace to society and should be um excluded from the world. Like, because I feel like it feels that way
100%.
sometimes, but
No, it's like
yeah,
an immediate value to your self-worth, and then we're like, "Why do we have this problem with confidence and lack of self-worth?" And it's like, well, maybe we've been ranking people and
literally.
demonizing failure in a place that's for education, and like learning failure is a
Yeah,
part of learning, and we're demonizing it and making people feel like if you fail, there's something wrong with you, not with how you were taught,
yeah,
you know?
yep,
Like, I feel like there's
yes,
so much more, and I just love how it is just all of the blame falls onto the student.
yeah.
You didn't try hard enough. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. Or and then the flip side too is like, "Oh, you did so great. You did so amazing." Like all this praise for, and I nanny part-time, and one of my kids is 12, 11. She's like in 7th grade now. And she came home and she was like, "I only got 98%." And I was like, "Are you freaking serious? Like,
That's it?
that's
How dare
incredible,
you?
dude."
Oh, okay, yeah, right, right, yeah, that's what I meant.
Like,
Yeah,
what? And she was, like, so hard on herself,
yeah,
And, like, it's just those things where it's like, there's no way to, like, celebrate the good that is, and it's just so easy to fall into all that 2%.
yeah.
Are you kidding? Out of 98% of, like, good, so to say, is just absolutely crazy, and, again, I also just feel like it's so unfair to, like, that is the only rank of, like, worth within the school system, not
Well, I
things
mean, you
like
get
you're saying showing
citizenship.
up. Like, I mean, attendance does play in, sure,
Yeah.
but, like, not really. And then like, get perfect attendance for a thing that's calling you in all the time with no breaks, and you gotta be on school mode all the time, like, I don't know how I feel about that either. Uh, but, like, yeah, I don't know,
Yeah,
like, our education system, frankly, is broken. We know
yeah.
that.
Well, I
Uh,
think it's yeah, and I think it's hard too because again, like going back to then, but it also ends up following you home too, where
yes.
when you show up and oh my gosh, you did really well on that test. Oh my gosh, I praise you, I love you. Wow, so good, that's
Mhm. Yeah.
amazing. And when you show up and you failed the test, it's wow. Well, you need to study more. Well, how come you didn't? How come you didn't get the A? What happened? Like, what's wrong with you? And
Yep.
so, like, again, it's not intentionally making the child feel like you're the worst person in this world and you're dumb.
Mhm.
But intention, what really happens, right? We talked about this last
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
And it's like that
Versus
child
impact.
feels like now your
Mhm.
love is dependent on how well they
Mhm.
perform at school,
It's conditional, yep.
and it's
Mm.
just like this vicious cycle of
Yeah.
like what is going on. So that's where I thought you were going to take it, but I'm glad you didn't, because then I can take it now. I can take it there now.
Yeah. It
um
was
and
beautiful.
that's why this works, because we're two sides of all the
Yeah.
coins. I love it. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that was a great. I don't know if there's anything else. I mean, I don't know if y'all agree and you're here with us live. Put a one in the chat. Like, I think our education system definitely needs a overhaul. And I love what you said about like that. Yeah, it's always focused on, well, you as the student are the problem.
Mm.
The system is not broken. It's you. Your
Exactly.
mind is broken. Or let me give you some medicine. Let me give you
Right.
some pills to help you be a better student. It's
Mhm.
like, well, why don't you
Yeah.
make more engaging content and then I will learn better? How about that? Can we do that
Mhm.
instead?
Mhm.
What? But it's crazy because even on that end, one of my great mentors, he's a high school coach. Yes, Togeter, all the ones, honestly. And I feel like he's told me, like, man, talk about making content more engaging. He did it. Like, he goes above and beyond. It's amazing. But then the school system is like, hey, actually, so what we need to do is you can't be like all that creative. We need to really rein it in. And we need to make sure that everyone is getting consistently the same education. Okay, well, the education is crap. So, like, what do you mean? Can we
Right.
increase the standard then? And I feel like I have so many friends who are teachers, and like, I feel like one of their struggles is they want to do more and they want to make it more engaging, but then there's like these golden shackles of like, well, but that costs more.
Mhm.
We're here just to deliver standard education, not
Mhm.
above and beyond. Okay, well then how do we expect kids in the future, or people, like, this is literally the future. How do we expect them to do better if we're actually holding them back and not giving them the tools to do better and be better
Mhm.
as like
Mhm.
we're growing as a civilization. Anyways, so that is like my little tangent there.
No, I feel
Um,
you.
I'm very passionate about education. I think we're both very passionate.
Yes.
Toga Eater's definitely very passionate about education and
Mhm.
needs to be better. And because then going back to the actual topic, like this is where you get set up for failure now.
Yep.
When it comes to making decisions that you constantly need to feel validated for because you're so afraid that you're going to make a mistake. I will. If you have any final thoughts, feel free to share now. Otherwise, I'll let you pick our next topic. We should
Yes.
get like a wheel or something. I don't
That
know.
might we really should. That would be fun.
Yeah, or even if we have like a physical one, like we each have one and we just like spin it, and then we can like,
That
see,
would be
look.
fun. We're like number this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like especially and reflecting on all of us too, we don't give youth the opportunity to essentially make choices either. We say this is the way it is. Don't fight back. Don't have anything else to say. Shut up and get in line. And again, then we're like, "Well, why can't you make a decision for yourself?" And it's like cuz you're not really giving them any decisions. You're not giving them the opportunity to experiment and be creative and flow or
Yeah.
just like simply screw up. Like I think so many times like I was like frustrated as a youth that like my mom just like wouldn't let me screw up. She just like had to, and then it created this tension, and it's like, if you actually just let me screw up, and like deal with the consequences, maybe I would like listen a little more. Or maybe I
Hmm.
would be able to have newfound knowledge from that failure that I experienced to be able to move through life better?
That's
And
actually
again,
very interesting.
within like, don't take this and run crazy with what I'm saying. Of course, like we want to create safety and we want to like create care as much as we can, but sometimes like kids need to fall down. Sometimes they need to screw up. Like adults too. That's why we have adults running around like making so and so like reckless decisions is because they were never given that opportunity or the shackles were so tight or whatever it may be. Like we're here to be messy and we're here to try and fail and all the things. Like why are we holding so
Hmm.
much shame and so much and then being like why didn't you make the best decision possible?
Yeah.
It doesn't go together. And it's just frankly setting us up, every young person to young adult to like future adult. Is there really ever like a right decision? And we are just told from the get go that there is, and that you can always make the wrong decision. And if you're not super successful, then you made the wrong decision. So get it together?
Yeah.
So.
Oh my
And
gosh.
that's the foundation, I feel like, of all of these other topics that we're going to talk about, with kind of having that. I mean, at least if you grew up in California, for me,
Hey, true.
with
Yeah.
that American, that was my experience and what I can speak to.
And I think what's crazy, sorry, because now you opened it up.
Yeah,
This
go for it.
It's funny because I feel like, yeah, like, messing up and everything. And I feel like in the beginning, it's really, that's the time to mess up is when you're a kid because you have the shelter of family, of the system is supposed to help shelter you. So, hey, if you make a wrong decision, right now is the time to do it and learn from it because the stakes are really low.
Yep.
But then we make it feel like these are life altering decisions. And so, oh my God, like you're going to make the wrong one. And now I can't trust you to make the right one because you're just a kid. How can you do that? And that one, wow, that was really good.
Yeah,
That was really good. You need to give them the chance. And then, have you watched Tangled?
I have, but it's been a while.
It's funny. It kind of made me think of like Mother Gothel when she's like, okay, go on
Give
your
it a shot.
adventure, whatever. And then she lets her make all those things. And then at the end, or like, well, towards it, she's like, oh, maybe she's right. Oh, maybe I should, whatever. And she's like, see, everything happened how I said it would. But then, obviously she set her up for failure and like always did all these things and messed with the system and stuff. So, there's that too. So, but it's funny. It made me think of that. Like, yeah, the more you actually let your child make mistakes. Like, you give them advice, but then if they take it, they
Mhm.
take it. If they don't, they don't. And if they make more decisions and they make more mistakes, then it would make them actually more open to what advice you have for them in the future. That part also, I was like, that makes sense. That
Mhm.
actually, I've never thought of it that way. So, Thank
Yeah,
you.
and, like, if you thinking about responsible too, like, how much life did she get to live by getting to go and experience that on her own, and connections and all the things, and it wasn't perfect, but, like, did she regret it? I don't think so.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, she ended up getting married.
I feel like that speaks to it too. Just because you, like, might know what's ahead, I feel like everyone's journey is different, so why take that away from them?
Yeah,
I think it's okay to share when it's wanted or warranted,
yeah.
but there's so much beauty in messing up and taking the risk, and I also I don't know, just hearing you say, like, when you're young, like, I feel like why should we stop making decisions?
And true. Yes, yes,
I
yes,
don't
yes,
know,
yeah.
I think that that's also just, like, something that society has, like, told us that, like, "Oh, like, God, I'm almost, like, in my whatever age, and I need to have this and that figured out." Does anyone?
I do, yes, I do.
Truthfully?
For the record, I have it all figured out. Yeah, thank you.
I love that for you. Imma go be messy over here. No. Like, I feel like, literally, I had my sister who she's 5 years younger than me, and it's so fun to, like, look back because I feel like I'm constantly, like, looking back at my younger self, and she was like, like, I'm almost in my mid-20s, like, I gotta and I was like, "Girl, chill out." I was like, "Get rid of that. We're not doing that," But, like, I did remember being almost in my mid-20s and being like, "Oh my god," even now being like, "Oh my god," but at this point, I've just really, like, welcomed it and been like, "Can we just let that go so that way I can make the best decisions for myself instead of
Mhm.
doing it from a place of fear and a place of, "Oh, I should be making this decision because that's how it is," rather than, "Okay, what are my needs and wants out of life? What do I aspire?" And, like, coming from that place, and I feel like the more that we can lean into that, I think the better decisions and the more that we're gonna be able to fall in love with being able to make decisions for ourselves.
Beautiful.
So,
Alright,
okay,
John, I have nothing further for the
great.
for the
I
witness.
Can I ask you a question
Yes, you
next or
can. Yeah,
or
you can.
hit your a talking point to you?
Yes. Mhm.
Hit
You
the
put
ball
the
and get
ball in my
away?
court. I
Oh,
accept your
okay, so I
ball.
want you to share a little bit about the difference between seeking support versus seeking permission, and what does that mean? What's the difference
Okay.
there?
So, in my time at Disney, it's funny because this question actually made me reflect on it a little bit. In my time at Disney as a manager, even as a lead too, I would ask people like, "Hey, can I get your support on this?" And I want to say in the beginning, I think it was more of like, "Hey, can I get support on this?" In the way of, "Can I get your thoughts on this?" So I can tweak it and see what I'm not seeing. But I would notice at times I would ask someone, "Hey, can I get your support on this?" Which is really actually me just asking them for their like permission or their validation on it. And I think
Mm,
even some parts of it in the other way where I'm asking for their feedback on something, it is in a sense asking for validation. But I think the ultimate goal, the intention with it is actually to ask for their thoughts on something and whether or not that's going to change what I feel about whatever it is that I've created, if it's a program, if it's some sort of proposal or whatever. I think that's where the difference is. So if I ask for your support, like let's say for the stream, and I'm like, "Hey Kayla, can I get your support on this?" It's actually me making the decision of like, "Hey, I want this done this way. What can you do to support me in this?" Not, "Hey Kayla, can I get your support on this?" and then let you just completely revamp a whole thing, which I think I've definitely done it. And I think so. I would say that, and really, kind of, I feel like where that comes from for most people is just they're afraid that things are not going to turn out right. And if I decide that I'm going to ask for your support on this. Let's say like back at Disney, and I would want to propose something, and if it goes terribly wrong, then I can be like, "Oh, well, Kayla supported this. Well, Kayla's the one who told me that I should do it this way. Well, Kayla's the one who said," and then all of a sudden now I'm deflecting all of the flack and everything, all of the negativity, and I'm going, "Well, it's really Kayla. I mean, I was kind of in charge of this, but then Kayla, who I asked for her
Yeah.
help on this, she's the one who told me to do it this way, which is why now everybody hates it. And then, or if like I wouldn't do this, but like, so I'm very big on like, you got to take ownership for the
Sure.
things, the decisions you make. And if I'm in charge of a project, I'm in charge of it. So even if I bring someone in and I ask them and I'm like, hey, Kayla, can you give me your thoughts on this? And then I decide to change it
Mhm.
based on that, it's still my decision to change
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
So it's still on me. And I
Mhm.
think that's where people get it wrong or they get it twisted where they're like, well, no, when I ask for their support and they sign off on it, they sign off on it in blood, saying that they're tied to the outcome of whatever happens. It's like, no,
Mhm.
the person just gave you advice. You still have to decide
Mhm.
whether or not you want to take it. But I think that's what people really want is they want not necessarily just support in the way of like help me figure out to make this the best. It's
Mhm.
okay, if we all do this together, then we all fail together.
Mhm.
Like that's it. And so I think a lot of people it's really just that fear of like, well, if it goes wrong, then it's all on me. Well, even if you do get support from other people, it's still all on you to make the right decisions. But you can ask other people for help and see what their thoughts are before you make your decision. But
Mhm.
ultimately, you still have to make the decision. Or if you don't make the decision, then whatever project you're working on the relationship that you're in, it will just fail, and that's it. So I guess you don't have to make a decision, but even not making a decision is making a
It's
decision.
making a
So
decision. Yeah, absolutely.
no decision is still decision. But yeah. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? And kind of touched a little bit on the other a little.
Yeah. I definitely resonate with like the whole like for me to move forward with the decision that I'm thinking about making, I like need it to be signed off and like, affirmed by whoever it is that for whatever the situation is. I have done that many a times. I actually like realized I really had like a codependent relationship with my sister when it came to making decisions because I
Huh.
literally like she was like my go-to person. Like and it wouldn't even I feel like it's especially crappy when you like have somebody there, but they're not like your decision making person and you're like, hang on, let me call so and so. They're the person that I'm like really looking for the validation from, right? But since my sister moved this past summer and we aren't like close, like in the physical sense, of course I can call her anything. But she's busy and like there's a time difference, all the things, right? It
Yeah.
doesn't yield to the easy access that I used to have. And I think also like the minute that like I start leaning onto someone or like I know that I have access there
Hmm.
that I like getting validation from, or maybe I feel like there's also like, endorphins that come from getting validated and getting affirmed, right? Like I think it goes back to our childhood self of like getting the award from that one person
Hmm.
who like, gives you that like that's amazing. That feels so good. That yeah, so when my sister moved away, I didn't have that easy access anymore. And then it really turned into me like making those decisions myself. And it was so funny because like the other day we were FaceTiming, I like told her something and a decision I made, and she was like, wow, and you didn't even call me, you
Yes.
know?
I
It
think I
was like
remember you
it
telling me.
was
Yeah.
just hilarious, that like we were like, "Oh my god, the relationship is changing. This is crazy." And then we're also like, "This is actually so great for us too to like have that confidence to truly make the decision for myself because it's what I like, not necessarily what I like, what I love, whatever." As opposed to like what is like cool or trendy to my sister, you know?
Yeah.
So that's been like a really fun like transition of yeah, seeing that like change of like permission and support. And it almost I feel like because I'm not asking for permission, I don't necessarily need the support, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so when I think about seeking permission versus seeking support, I feel like if you can do it without them and like move forward, then you don't necessarily need the support. You're really looking for the permission, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like,
I Yes, I actually
not that
like.
they can't be there to support you too, but
No. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
if you have the means to do it for yourself and do it, then you need to do it. And you're really looking for the permission to move forward. Where I feel like seeking support could be like, I've done XYZ and I've made these decisions and like can I get feedback on this or that? Or I think also like being able to like find your authority and say like I really appreciate that and say, well, I'm going to do it this way, right? Like being able to like make decisions rather than it being like they said yes, that's the go. When it comes to like
Mhm.
support versus permission. Oh.
Yeah, I like the way you said that. Like that it is just very, if you can do it on your own, then you can just do it.
Mhm.
And then I think if you want validation, then just be honest with yourself that that's
Yeah,
what you're looking for.
right.
Because I will personally admit that I love like a good pat on the back, like, hey, look, I did this thing, whatever, and I'm like, hey, do you feel like this was actually a good thing? Like, yeah, that was amazing. Like, yeah, you did a really good job on it. Thank you. Cool. I just,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
because I think a lot of times it's funny. I think we get so we get so avoidant of taking ownership of the great things that we do, and we're worried that we're going to get super egotistical, that we downplay like the compliments, right? Like oh, when someone says, hey, yeah, no, you did a really good job, and we're like, no, I mean, I didn't
Mhm.
really like do whatever, but like secretly like that's really what we want. And I think if we're just honest with ourselves of like,
Yeah.
hey, look, I do like validation, and when I do a good job, I do a good job, and let's leave it at that.
And I think validation can absolutely be a type of support,
Yeah.
right? Like what I really need right now is for
Emotional
someone to
support.
tell me that I'm doing great.
Yeah. Or if I'm not, then be honest with me.
Right. And I think that that's also like the difference between like support and permission is like support means like a bunch of different things like in regards to what you're getting, and permission is like the green light to go or not essentially.
Yes, I like that.
So,
Yes, yes,
yeah.
yes, yes, yeah. Like
And
I'm gonna go
yeah.
walk this path anyways.
Yeah.
If you want to just like help me along the way, cool, great. But like I'm still going this way versus
Right.
should I walk the path? I don't know. Can you tell me? Can you just tell me if
Right.
I should do it, please?
Right. And I think it's like also important to see like, okay, I'm looking to get support in this way. If you have any feedback on like if there's like a better way to get to this path,
Yeah.
that would be great. Like,
Yes.
and maybe it might not be feedback, or can you just cheer me on? Like identifying what kind of support you're looking for, or or then if it is permission that you're seeking, then I think it's just important to like check in with yourself and be like, am I trying to get them to say that this is okay? What am I doing right now? What am I doing in this situation with this other person, and how can I better communicate to better serve me and this relationship? So, yeah,
No, I love it.
beautiful. I love that.
All right. Let me see. What do I want to ask you? We're
Na,
kind
na,
of
na.
on
No.
this track, so
Yeah.
I'm going to bring this one up.
Yeah.
This idea of, so you do actually know what you want.
Mm,
You're just afraid of the consequence. And we have kind of touched on this in a few things, especially the childhood, the education part of it. So I'll give you this one. I do have a question though that I would love for you to answer from
okay.
this, which is more of like, what, aside from like the past traumas and things, are there other things that you feel like people are afraid of, or what do you feel like people are afraid is going to happen if they either do the thing that they want to do,
Mhm.
the gut feeling thing that they're like, yeah, this is the right one. So what are they afraid if they do that? And two, what are they afraid of if it goes wrong and they
Mm,
trust their instincts and things go wrong?
mhm.
So two
Yeah.
additional questions. You can first give your thoughts and then I can give you those questions again later. Because that was kind of out of the nowhere. So
Yeah. I just love to like live in this passive world of saying that I don't care and that like I'm just along for the ride. I'm like so good at that. And I do think that at times I really am, I really do feel that way. But I also think that that's because I've just learned how to suppress so well, not having an opinion on something.
no.
Right. It's like, "Look, Kayla, dang girl." And so, yeah, I think being afraid of the consequences is so real. And I don't know if you guys have seen like an image of like you get to like a cliff, right? Or like a gorge or whatever. And like on the other side is your dreams. And like right on and this little gorge is like all your fears. And sometimes that gorge really does have like monsters in it. But sometimes it's really shallow and there's really not, it's not that bad. But because you're so afraid to walk up to the edge and, or you just start to, you're like, oh, well, someone told me this or someone told me that, or I don't want to end up like this in this situation, or I don't want to, whatever, you just like tell yourself every reason why you don't want that, even though one, it's not that bad and the consequences aren't that severe, but it's not the story that you're telling yourself. So you have to like make it up. Right? Oh, I don't know if that feels, yeah, I don't know. I feel like sometimes I've made it up. Um, and I've just like, again, it comes back to the shame and embarrassment of being the person that tried, which makes me feel so crazy to say out loud. I think it's actually really helpful to say what it is that you're afraid of out loud because
Hmm.
then you bring it out into the world and you get it out of your brain, and half the times it's really not that bad. Or you're like, well, if that's what I'm afraid of, then I can just do this to support it in this way to like, not make it nearly as bad or whatever it may be, right? I just find it really helpful to say those fears out loud because then I'm like, that's sometimes I get to be like, that's a stupid thing to be afraid of. That's a bunny rabbit. You just gotta throw some carrots at it and we're good, Like there can be easier fixes the more that we bring things out of our brain instead of letting the emotions and the anxieties and all the things I feel like run rampant and crazy with them. So I used to think that you do know what you want. And then I'd be like, but do you? Do you though? And that was myself that like pushed down and avoided and loved to make everyone else a priority. I do think that when you do begin to love and care about yourself, you do have heart's desires. And there are many, many things that you do want out of the world. And the more that you're able to think about them, dream about them, whatever it may be, like actually begin to take a little bit of ownership over the things that you want, the easier it is to identify what it is that you want to begin with. If that makes sense. So it all starts with asking the question, what is it that you want? What is your heart's desire? What is it? Because it's really hard to ask or identify it if you haven't asked yourself that question to begin with. And then being able to understand what you're afraid of when it comes to making that in the real world. So, yeah. Do you have any thoughts so far?
The idea of heart's desires. Can you just share like some examples of what you would consider like a heart's desire?
Yeah, I think a heart's desire can literally be big or small. I think a heart's desire could be, not to be like shallow or whatever, but like driving a BMW, or your heart's desire could be having a family, or your heart's desire could be going to a yoga class on Tuesday nights. Your yoga class, or sorry, your yoga class. Your heart's desire could be that I like whatever it is that like when you think about it, I feel like you light up. I feel like there's like an emotional reaction to it of contentment, maybe joy and care that you feel. How about you? Do you have a take on heart's desire, what that's defined for you?
I would say, I mean, I equate it to kind of like how Simon Sinek talks about like start with why, like what is your why? The thing that ultimately drives your life are the
Mhm.
things that drive your life. What are the things you desire and want? So, yeah, whether it's, well, I want to provide a safe space for my family. I want to monetarily provide for them. Yes, I want a really fancy motorcycle. I also want a really fancy motorcycle. Not now. I don't need it now though. I think that's why it's a good thing too. When do we want our heart's desires? When is the appropriate time?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. There's always an appropriate time for a really fancy motorcycle. Anyways, um, so yeah, like things like that, right? And I think often our desires, I mean, kind of like how you started with like, I just got really good at just suppressing all the things that I wanted in life, whether I just felt like they weren't good enough or nobody is validating those things. And I'm getting the opposite
Mhm.
reaction of like, oh, I want a really fancy motorcycle. Well, that's extremely terrible for you to want that. Okay, well, since it's been invalidated, I guess I'll just do something else. I'll look for something else.
Mhm.
Oh, I want to become an artist. Ooh, I don't know. Do you really want to? I mean, you're not going to make any money. It's really hard. yeah, okay, well, then I'll just do something else. And then people end up in careers that they absolutely hate for the rest of their lives,
Mhm.
because nobody validated their original decision of, hey, I want to do this, or the right the right people invalidated it, so it made it invalidated. So maybe your friends were like, hey, yeah, you should do that, and here's how some ways you can make money or whatever. Okay, but then your parents are like, no, don't do it, you'll never make any money. Okay, well, I hold my parents validation higher than my friends, so yeah, forget it, I'll never do that ever. I'll never even pick up a paintbrush or something. I'll never get a subscription to Adobe, whatever the case
Yeah.
is. Yeah, I like that. Yes, the heart's desires things. That was really cool. And then the idea of owning it, just like own it. If you want it, then you want it. Then work towards it and get it and make the decisions, and
Yes.
don't let other people. It's funny because now I'm like, don't let other people tell you you can't. But I think let other people help you get there in a more resourceful way. Where like because I talk about like my relationship. I'm like, okay, yeah, like you still want to listen to what people have to say, and still take that into consideration, right? And I think there's a way because there's a lot of compromise in it. But I think ultimately the compromise isn't, well, this will never happen. It's like, oh, I want to get a really fancy motorcycle. If I told my wife that right now, she'd probably be like, we don't really have money for that. Like, you sure you want to do that? Like, let's hold off. But it's never like a no, never.
Mhm.
So like, hey, the decision is still going to be happening. It's just not
Mhm.
now, which then is still, I'm not looking necessarily for validation on the ultimate goal of it. It's
Yeah.
just the timing of it. Okay, cool. So I think there's a fine line between needing validation, especially in the context of a relationship, versus just like life things like, well, I want to go get a coffee tomorrow morning. Well, okay, does the context of it make sense? Yes. Okay, cool. Then let me go. Otherwise, we would just
Mhm.
run around and make impulsive decisions all the time, like using Buy Now on Amazon and all of the Cyber Monday deals and Black Friday deals, and spending money we don't have, maxing out credit cards that we need to pay off, things like that. So I think own them in the context. Make sure that it's still a good decision for you to make in this moment
Mhm.
while still pursuing your heart's desires and dreams, as long
Mhm.
as they're resourceful and safe for you, the people around you, and like the overall like the world balance and things. As long as it's like ethical, follow your
Right.
heart's
We wanna,
desires.
like, key those points in just in case.
Yes, yeah.
No, I support that. I
I want to make sure
well,
we're clear on that part.
definitely weren't. Not that you need our validation, just a suggestion. What I really loved about what you said, Joohong, about your, like, conversation with your wife, which I think also speaks to the whole, like, seeking support versus permission. What do you want? Are you afraid of the consequences, right? Like, I feel like these all play into each other, right? And what I heard from your conversation with your wife, I don't know if it's hypothetical or real, whatever, but
Slightly
you're like,
hypothetical.
my heart's desire is that I want a brand new motorcycle,
Yeah.
right? That's what I heard. That's what you want. You put it out there. And what I heard from this is that you weren't necessarily asking your wife for permission, so to say, but I heard that that's where the support was coming through, right? Of like, that sounds so great. Love that you want that. Okay, what does it look like to get that, right? And I
Mhm.
feel like that's kind of where it brought you to like identifying like what is your path getting to your heart's desire and being like, maybe not right now is the best decision, or maybe in X amount of time or whatever it may be. Like, I just thought
Yeah.
that that was like a really beautiful way of like not necessarily needing permission and allowing you to hold that power, but being able to support you in making the best decision. If that makes sense.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I think it's funny because, like, as I'm thinking about it now, I'm like, okay, in a relationship, you kind of need permission, but not necessarily in the way that I think you need permission to, like, I don't know, take a few days off from work. Like, it's different. Like,
Mhm.
it's not as much of a hard line, but I think the
Mm-mm.
intention of it maybe different.
Yeah.
Maybe different in the sense of I'm more of taking into consideration what my partner is saying
Mhm.
versus if my partner says no, then it's a no. It's, well, let's talk about it and let's figure out a plan for it. If this is truly
Mhm.
something that is like so burning in my chest that I must have it or
Mhm.
something.
Right.
I think that is probably more of, yeah, not necessarily validation in that moment, but more of a consideration, but a very strong consideration that is like at the like if this is permission, it's like right here. It's like right here. It's really, really close, and then same
But
thing
I
vice
do think
versa.
I
Yeah.
think that's how, like, I don't know. I feel like it is important though to like identify that like it is true that we like don't need permission, so to say, to make a decision. Like we all have free will.
True. Yes.
And I think that if you do move through life and like such like for example, like me with going to the bathroom, right? And like needing that like permission, like it really was like permission to go to the bathroom, which seems crazy, And I know that
Yeah.
that's not necessarily the same caliber as like a need as a motorcycle, right? But like your heart's desires are your heart's desires. And if someone who's super important in your life is, you feel like invalidating them and like making you feel like they are less than or whatever it may be, that is going to ultimately have an impact on you and then ultimately an impact on your relationship, whether you want to acknowledge that or not.
Yeah.
And I think that that's why it's like so important to like identify like the support and being able to like I don't know, to find like just true understanding and like thinking about relationships too. Like it's so important for you to be able to ask each other like what do you want?
Yeah.
What are your heart's desires? Like what are like let's hear it. And I think that oftentimes people don't actually share because they're afraid of the consequences of rejection of all of the things, right? But it just makes me curious if we like started to share what like those true heart's desires are, what relationships and communication would like look like, and how we could like have better relationships if we were able to support rather than feel like we have to give or get permission.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a
Interesting.
thought.
Yeah. These are all just thoughts.
Just thoughts.
Just
Just
thoughts.
fun
Just
fun
thoughts.
things. Fun things
Yeah.
to share.
Fun things. Yeah.
Anything else that you have thoughts on regarding this topic?
Oh my gosh, I have so many thoughts.
Yeah.
On this topic, on this one specifically, I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually, quick question.
Yeah.
What do you think that people feel the consequence is for being wrong?
That you're trash and that you suck and that who do you think you are? Why
Yeah.
would you do that? That's embarrassing. Shame. Heavy shame. Just like a nice fat shoe stomping down. I feel like for being wrong.
How would you
Which yeah.
how do you or how do you coach people to kind of to reframe that or to resolve that
Yeah.
feeling like, oh, this is what's going to happen if I'm wrong?
Yeah. One of my favorite affirmations to use is I can disappoint someone and still be safe. I can let someone down and it's still going to be okay. And knowing that, like, it isn't the end. Because I think oftentimes it feels like it's earth shattering, the end. There's no way forward. This is no, it's not the end. You can dust yourself off. Like that's part of failure. You're going to get bumps and bruises. And I think that being able to like acknowledge and say that like there is a way forward, whether we like the forward or not, or it feels good or not, which oftentimes with failure, it does not feel good. But the more that we can fall in love with that, the more comfortable that it's going to become with being able to move through and not have to dwell and hang out in that crappy space for longer than we have to. And I think it really just comes down to like experimenting and like trying it out, in safe spaces where you can be uncomfortable and learn that, you know what, I survived. I'm okay. I lived. That actually wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. Um, yeah. So I think being able to like understand the duality of like, this doesn't feel good, but I'm okay can exist at the same time and being able to like live that experience, not just say it. So, how about you? How would you reframe it? Right. Mm, Mhm. Yes. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Yep. Mhm. Right. Mhm. Yeah. Absolutely. I love that. Thanks for sharing that technique. That's so powerful. I did something similar in a retreat that I used to host with another life coach, Tia Tress, and it was called Who the Hell Am I Self Love Retreat. And so we take them through an exercise like identifying their heart's desires, and then we have them go into an exercise where essentially they like experience what it was like to make that decision and what it was like to not experience that decision and to step into both realities and then identify which one it is that they want to move forward with. And that is just like another really great way to, I feel like, allow, because we are emotional beings and like emotions do drive our decisions at the end of the day. And so to bring those emotions with us and to allow us to feel them in both situations, I think is just so, but in a safe place, right? Is just such like a great way to solidify and affirm for yourself and validate for yourself that this is the decision that I can make. And in that situation, we're not like bring so and so with you or what did they say? How did it feel for them, right? Like that's not included in these exercises. And so it's so funny how our knee jerk reaction is to like just run for that validation and for those ways to affirm whether or not we should move forward. So I want to ask you, kind of going from this, of like the energetic leak that we experience with constantly seeking validation and pushing, and how that like really ultimately like pushes people away when we're continually requiring their validation to make decisions or even permission, as we've talked about today. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. 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 Sure. Yeah. You are the vampire. You. Well, I'm sure somebody that you again, this comes back from childhood, like, we learned this from somewhere, where, like, saying, "I don't know," and then they give the suggestion, you're like, "Well, not that one." It's another way to, like and it is exhausting, and you're expecting someone else to anticipate your needs, which is so unfair, so unfair. Speak your heart's desire. What is it that you really want? Share that, and then see how it lands. And again, you don't need permission. If you really wanna go get Taco Bell and they really want Del Taco, then, like, go get your Taco Bell. You have that free will, like, do your thing. I feel like love to, like, grab onto someone for that security and found like, that false sense of security and foundation, and I feel like it allows for so many things to pass us by as we just go with it, and, like, if you want that Crunchwrap Supreme, get that Crunchwrap Supreme. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Yep. Mhm. Yep. My childhood, my You took the words out of my mouth. Yes. No. It was just the reference of, like, how literally it can take, like, one person saying that this is a horrible decision can just completely alter the trajectory of how you move through your entire life, being like, "Well, that's a horrible decision," and then never having Del Taco, for example, or whatever, because that's, like, that became reality for you, right? And here's the thing, you guys, you can make that switch at any time. Cue Joohong. Setting you up for that one. You're wel Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Or another decision period, you know? Yes. Mhm. Yep. Mhm. I can't I feel like that comes into, like, another one of our talking points tonight for the hidden payoff of being indecisive and, like, what is that? And because, like, that's what we're talking about here, right? Like, not m just doing nothing, and whether that however you got to the place of just, like, not making a decision, being passive, whatever, you just don't get to be held responsible because 'cause you're just not doing anything, and it's the beauty of freeze, essentially. The bliss of freeze that feels so good for, like, a little bit, and then it just starts piling up. But you're frozen and you can't do anything about it, and now it's even worse, and now you're gonna be even more frozen. Right? Joohong playing into his great freeze. And man, I really relate to the whole freezing situation. Like, I feel like in my relationship and to like, even like, I've had times where like, I'm like, I don't know what I want to eat. I don't know. And then like 2 more hours go by, right? And I'm like, still haven't eaten because I don't know, and it's something so small, right? That like really isn't that big of a deal. And then you think about big things, right? Like starting a business, right? And having big decisions to make and, feeling like it's your entire life. And then you freeze because you don't know what to do and all the things. And then your business isn't moving because you're frozen. And then you feel more, what do I do? No, no, all these things. And ultimately, what this does when we're in that freeze state is we end decisions as much as it sounds so great to make decisions from a place of being grounded and like firm and knowing what it is that you desire and what you're going to do. We love as humans to make decisions from being forced to and from emotional states, which is just, oh, so fun. So, nothing like, for example, going back to that eating situation 2 hours ago, I was more stable, my blood sugar was better, all the things, whatever. And now I'm hangry. Now I feel ready to maybe commit some crimes or say some things that maybe I wouldn't have 2 hours ago because now I'm hangry and I'm moving from this emotional place of, and then maybe I have a goal of like cooking from home or whatever it may be, whatever. But now I'm like, I don't care. Everything's out the door. It's time for me to go make this quick decision that I don't actually truly support and doesn't align with my heart's desires, right? Same thing with the business decision, right? I'm feeling stressed, I'm overwhelmed, I've been frozen for so long. So now I'm going to jump into this emotional decision because I don't know what else to do. And this person says that they can help me. All of these feel ick. They feel gross. They feel it does not help you sitting in this place of being indecisive of that freeze. So again, I want to encourage you to ask yourself what it is that you want. Start practicing that, whether it's in the small scale of asking yourself what you want to eat, or it's the bigger scale things with like, what am I doing with my life and whatever, like just practicing being curious, just making a decision. I had another coach, her name is Denise, she's incredible, who shared this story with me of how she always encouraged her kids that it was, and this is like a hypothetical, that she always said, like, I would way rather support you in getting a speeding ticket versus a parking ticket, in the sense that I would way rather you go and make decisions and go, as opposed to just sitting in the car and getting a parking ticket. Now, this is, I just want to clarify as a burnout queen and, recovering from that. This doesn't say to go, and all the things and be crazy. This is just in the sense of like, just make a decision. Make a decision. You're going to be okay. Promise you, you're going to be okay. And you're going to be so grateful to yourself of being able to build that confidence and really just make a better life for yourself instead of having to make all these decisions from a burnt out, exhausted emotional place by just being decisive and making a decision. Yeah, that's my thoughts on that. What do you think? Any thoughts for you? Oh, we're going to cut that. I love I love that shared that with me. That's great. Yeah. You're like, I'm familiar. No, but you're not going anywhere. You're literally in the exact same place and you're just gonna keep getting tickets and tickets and tickets. Where well, and that's the story about how Joohong never went to the beach ever again and then continued to never make another decision again because the last time he did, he got a ticket. Nah, we're cutting that. We are cutting that story. How would you, Joohong, how would you reframe that for yourself? Mhm. Mm. Mhm. Yep. Mhm. 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 Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's the big scary monster that is just right. Mhm. Right. When yeah, it really comes back to, like, how we get so comfortable being uncomfortable, and we just are like, "Well, I know it's gonna be uncomfortable, so I'm just gonna hang out here because that's what I know," as opposed to being uncomfortable for a little bit to maybe get to a place that really is actually more comfortable. And how we just love to like sabotage ourselves in that way to just literally be uncomfortable with just looking the other way, avoiding, dismissing all the things when you just made the decision to look might not be so bad. So, I mean, like you said earlier, like no decision is also a decision too. And so if you want to release your power, you can, but I think really like what Joohong and I are here to share with you guys is like you do have the power to make a decision. And we want to encourage you and know that you are worthy, so worthy of making a decision. And I truthfully believe and know that whatever decision that you make, you will figure it out. However, it turns out, you're going to figure it out. There are tools, people mess up all the time, people go through stuff all the time. We are not normally the first person to go through the thing that we are experiencing. And the more that we are able to share and connect and be our true authentic self, we're going to find that help and support that we need. But the more that we hide away and we freeze and we avoid and all those things just allows these things to turn into those scary monsters that they might not necessarily be. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Right. That would be great. Mhm. 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 Yep. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Right, right, and again, that's the choice that you get to unwillingly willingly make, right? Yeah. That was beautiful. I love that. I think that that's so cool too coming from, like, a poker player, right? Like, it makes sense, like, there's these, you know, decisions and probabilities and all the things that you can put, but you have to make a decision, And so you can for sure lose or you can have the chance to win. Again, just wanna, like, shout out if you need support for gambling, we'll drop a resource. Not to support gambling addictions necessary or to support them, we will provide resources, but yeah, like, there is that chance, and I think that with yeah, so take the chance. Take the chance, be brave, be curious, listen to your heart's desire, all the beautiful things. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Stand firm in that. I think that is, like, a part of what we've been talking about too, is, like, really taking, like, accountability and, like, give yourself that permission to, like, stand on the decision that you make, and there's consequences with everything, but, like, own them. Look at them. See, like, "Yep, that's what that was." Don't go and point the finger. Isn't that the whole, like, point when you point the finger, you got 3 fingers pointing back at you, right? So, yeah, you cut off. Just for those who are listening, it's literally like a flat hand he's pointing out with all 5 fingers. Joohong, hey, remember when you were talking about wanting to, like, not be sarcastic? Just he's like, "I'm not being sarcastic, Kayla." He's like, "I'm being serious." Sorry. Takes full responsibility with double hands. Oh my Yep, fair enough. That's so funny. This is laugh man. So I've never actually seen someone point with all 4, like, all 5 fingers. Yeah, the thumb too. Yeah, that's so funny. That's so great. Were you trained to do that, or is that just something you did? Okay. Ah, I see, I see. The knife hand. I've never heard that term either, so yeah, thank you. I'm being educated. I love that I'm getting more than I bargained for here, which is so great. Knife hand, cut off. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Yes, very resourceful. I love that for you. Well, I would love to hear from you guys in the comments what you guys got as your takeaway from today's conversation. What is one way that you are going to step into your power, into your strength, and practice making decisions in whatever way that looks. We would love to hear from you guys. We'd also just love to know like what decisions you've made since taking on this new information. We want to hear from you. So share with us or something that you're thinking about making a decision on. We're not going to necessarily let us know if you need support. Might not necessarily validate or whatever you guys need. We will be there to support in any ways. So, yeah, love to hear from you. We are. Yeah. Yeah, it's like a book a month. Just depends on when it lands. If it's 4 weeks, 6 weeks, however we do. Yeah, true. True that. I don't have mine with me right this second. I believe it's downstairs. But it's a great book. Super, I think we've shouted out a couple times that it's super skinny. In 2 weeks, we're going to be touching on that one, which is going to be really fun. I feel like going into the new year. So yeah, like Joohong's showing here, little little short. I think it's like literally 100 pages, and it has like some pictures in it too. So big font. So for those who are nervous about reading, um, it is a great way to dip your toes into starting to read, which I'm super excited about. 94 pages, not even 100, guys. It's a great easy read. My goodness. That's so funny. It but it's large. No, it's definitely large. So if those weren't reasons to support you in making a decision, I don't know what they are. Just make the decision, commit. It's a great book. We would love to hear from you guys, love to hear your thoughts on the book too. And we're super excited for that conversation. Juhong, do you have a topic picked out for next week yet? Yeah. Sarcasm. Um, that's so funny. Well, that is totally fine. You will make a great decision when you do. I think it's actually really funny. It took a long time to make the decision for this topic, and I love that I picked this as the topic, which is just hilarious. Oh, man. So great. Well, no pressure if you don't know yet. We will definitely post it and let you guys know. Or we'd love to hear from you if you guys have thoughts on what topic you want to hear from us next. We've talked about energy vampires. We've talked about the perfection trap. We've talked about so many great things. This is our ninth live, which is so cool. Just so cool. We've talked about the fears of impact of communication. We've talked about having differing beliefs in relationships, resting, speaking clearly. What are your intentions? Emotional intelligence. Talked about a lot of awesome topics. So I'm really excited for it's so cool. By the end of the year, we will have streamed 12 times, which is like so sick. Is that it you said? Yeah, just, like, so exciting, and we're so grateful for you guys, part of our community, being, a part of these conversations and helping guide us and asking questions. It's just so fun to have you guys included in it. So, if you haven't already, make sure that you guys are following our Facebook, our Instagram, our Twitch, our YouTube, our LinkedIn, all the things. We post clips from previous lives and we share what's coming up next, what time we're streaming. So make sure you guys go and follow us. We're so excited that because of you guys, we were able to start streaming on Facebook now, which is awesome. So you guys are supporting us so much by following and subscribing. I believe you, and I can't wait for this topic. And yeah, cool. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening, and we'll see you next week. Bye.